Hey guys, this is Gerard,
This is Frank.
This is Ray.
This is Mikey.
and we're My Chemical Romance, and we're here to talk about our new album, The Black Parade. The end was basically this song where I think when we butted that up against Dead, I think we realized we were making a really theatrical record that was also going to be very big. We wanted something, we wanted the end to feel a little bit like the beginning of The Wall. There's a song called In the Flesh, ? Because it reprises later in the record. But we wanted it to feel very much like that kind of beginning, like that you were about to get taken on a journey. And I think that's why that song is so big. And it tells a story right away. I think it just kind of pulls you in to this story. So.
Yeah, that's like you said, that song definitely set the tone of the record. Of the entire record. We had written it in New York at SIR Studios, and as soon as all the drums and all the guitars kicked in really loud from that first acoustic guitar that starts, like we knew that we were onto something big.
I'll serve it in drag. You've got front row seats to the penitence bar. When I grow up, I want to be.
Dead was written probably right around that time too.
Yeah, that was written on
It's one of the older songs that were written, and it's the first one that it started out as this kind of scathing social commentary, and then ended up being the song that very much fitted the story. I mean, you'll also notice on Dead, it's got a little bit of a 90s Britpop feel to it, which is kind of intentional. It was inspired by
Mr. Blue Sky.
Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra, but there's definitely some moments of Blur in there and Pulp a little bit. It's definitely got kind of a Britpop vibe, which, is something that I've wanted in some form to appear in the music at one point in our career. So it's cool to have that in there. And, it fits really great after the end because it launches you right into this story.
It definitely has that Britpop like bouncy feel.
Yeah, the bounce, the meter of the song.
I think then going out of the chorus and into the B section, there was definitely a section we wrote, and it was almost like a walking bass line kind of thing when it was originally written, and then we kind of talked about what we could put in there to make it, just go into a different world at that point, because Gerard starts singing in different character voices and things like that. And I think early on I was the one who was like, I really want tuba.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure why.
I think Frank had heard horns, and I think it's because the section almost reminded us of Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah.
And we wanted to take it there right away on the record. We wanted to take it into this kind of Sgt. Pepper's realm because, there was really three major influences for the record, and aside from our lives and using metaphors to describe them, it was Sgt. Pepper's, Pink Floyd's The Wall, and Queen's Night at the Opera. Those are the three main records that inspired this album directly, and so it was good to have a nice little injection of Sgt. Pepper's right away. I pictured this kind of hospital in Dead, and I pictured this doctor talking to this patient in this doctor voice, and I think that comes across in that. And so there's all these like ironic horns and these slams on the piano that are happening when they're talking about a problem with this guy's heart, and so.
What I love most about Dead is that huge ending, because it's like a tribute to all the bands that we all love, like the Beatles, Oasis, Blur. Like, it's just this great, it kind of like refrains the song, and it's like, I don't know, it's just amazing part of it.
It's a really celebratory ending. It's kind of this la la la
Yeah.
sing along, and the melody just all, I guess, kind of struck us when Gerard came up with it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was great when we first played it in the studio. Like, that was one of the most fun sections because it was like really kind of like the first time where me, Gerard, and Frank actually sang together, and it just sounded so huge. All of us
Pretty
singing
tight.
the laws together, and
Yeah.
it was just really fun. It was just like this huge gang vocal to finish off the song, and it's just a great way to finish it.
Well, Sharpest, I think, it started out as a vocal melody that Gerard was kicking around for a little while, and normally we can, from knowing G, like, we all know when there's something that he's real psyched about and like really wants to get on real quick, because like someone will have a guitar at that moment and like it'll turn into a song. But it was one of those melodies that was like, let's work on it a little bit, and then we kind of just went on to other things. And then the more we got into recording, we were actually tracking at that point. Gian and Toro went in the other room, and I think he kind of just something about that melody keep coming back, and he was like, let's just try this.
Yeah, it
And-
was one of those things that melody was like, it was almost kind of this one. I think me and Ray had test driven it a little bit at the Paramore, but I don't think everybody was that psyched on it. And then I was like saying to myself, you know what, I just don't think it's finished yet. And I still believed in the verse, but that's all it was really there. It didn't have a powerful chorus or anything. So, but then I just, something about it was relentlessly in my head. So I remember one night Ray had loaned me his guitar, and I just sat down. It was one of the biggest moments of inspiration for me during the record. It was one of those cases where I just sat down with a guitar and a bunch of sheets of paper and literally try to write this whole song, where I'm start to finish with bridges and everything in it. And it was pretty crazy. The lyrics came immediately, and they were very inspired. And so I would just play it on an acoustic guitar and sing it. And actually, that version to me has a lot of charm to it too. Like, it sounds almost like a New Order song when you play it on acoustic guitar and just sing it. It has a lot of charm to it. But so then the objective was then to take that song that was almost just acoustic and then just throw everything on it, electronics, everything, and then strip away the elements to the point where it felt like it was a rock band again. So it did start with a lot more electronics than real instruments. It was like a really intense tracking session because it lasted 3 days, and Rob Cavallo got crazed about the song, and we were all just working really feverishly for 3 days and didn't stop once that song came about. So
I just remember that night we were watching TV or something,
yeah.
and he points in the air, goes in the other room with the guitar, and comes out with the chorus. And I was just like,
Time for the show, you're the one that I need. I'm the one that you loathe. You can watch me corrode like a beast in repose. Cause I love all the poison away with the boys in the band. I've ran band on a band show. So why don't you blow me? Work your spin by street. Give me a shot to remember. And you can take all the pain away from me. Kiss it, I won't surrender. The sharpest lights on the 10 BS to me.
We wrote for a while
Right.
before even starting in New York. We wrote while on tour. I think we started in Warped Tour in the summer. We put a little mini makeshift studio in the back of our bus, and we wrote constantly trying to get into the mindset of writing before we actually took some time to sit down and do the record. But I think the oldest song on this record is actually the first single, "Welcome to the Black Parade," because it went through so many different forms before it even got to that point. We actually wrote, I guess, the idea for it before the first record ever came out. And then it didn't get finished for the first record, and we kind of abandoned it. And then before we wrote Three Cheers, we brought it back, trying to see if it would work, and we just had so many other things that we wanted to work on that it didn't get finished. And then when this record finally, we sat down to write this record, we're like, oh, well, remember that song? And it started out really slow, and then we sped it up, and then we recorded it, and we were happy with it, and then we listened to it, and we were like, this could be better. So then, but the whole process, I guess, took 3 years for that song.
This song is like a real true testament to the band, how it's grown. It's a very prime example of the risks we took on the record. It encapsulates really the themes of the record, a lot of what we're trying to say, which is to be very direct to our audience and any audience we might get, is to say, the last record was about aggression and maybe violence and dealing with things in an angst way, whereas this record, we wanted people to get over that and stop being upset and really carry on through anything bad that happened. And it's also the point in the record where this patient meets up with this Black Parade, and it takes him on this journey. And so, as far as a song, it was like the biggest, hardest song we'd ever had to create together. It has 167 tracks.
Which is it's like I think a world record.
It's got a marching band. It's got multiple snare sections. It has horns. This section we referred to as the orphan section, which is these kind of gang vocals that come in during the bridge, which we really try to shoot for it sounding like Little Orphan Annie.
It does kind of encompass what the whole record is about. This
Yeah.
track for sure.
So I think it's a really good way to, as a first single, I guess, to really give you a little bit of a scope as to what the rest of the record will bring. So
Yeah, the weird part about this song is that when we originally started writing it, the code name for it was The Five of Us Are Dying,
Ooh, which I hated.
which
I-
it was
hate
named,
that name.
it was
Ray's really
codenamed.
superstitious.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, yeah, I'm really superstitious, and I remember
Don't
this
blame
was the last song that we well, in its previous form we had tracked it, and we were getting on a plane to go to, I think, Europe.
England, yeah.
Yeah, we were going to England,
Oh,
and
I
I
remember this.
didn't want to get on the plane. I
Yeah.
was freaking out
That was a bad
because it
conversation.
just so happened that this song was the last one that we tracked. The Five of Us Are Dying, and then get on a plane and go play a show. Sure, have fun.
Right.
And I was just I almost didn't get on the plane.
I Don't Love You is the song that follows Black Parade, and that's, I think, was our first shot at really kind of writing something sort of like a ballad,
Yeah,
something
definitely.
more relaxed, and I don't know, for me, for some reason I keep thinking that it's something that Otis Redding might sing the shit out of.
Yeah,
Really
that's why
do
I
that.
try to riff on right before that second chorus, just like him. So, it's also another song that was kind of written early on, as well. And,
Yeah, that was written on tour too.
I think we sound checked it on the Green Day tour while they were all. I think Green Day was playing wiffle ball.
Yep,
And
that's
we,
true.
we
Yeah, that's
sound
right.
checked it, and it was pretty powerful even back then. So, it's a song that's just very direct, and we saw this song as the patient looking back at his life in a moment where he made some mistakes. So that's really kind of what this one's about.
Yeah. Musically, too, instrumentation wise, it's very inspired by Creedence Clearwater, Who'll Stop the Rain. There's B3 organ in it, which just kind of fills out the sound real nice. But it's kind of interesting because this song, compared to Black Parade, feels much smaller. But I think that actually works on the record because Black Parade feels so big, and you kind of need I Don't Love You is kind of very easygoing and a little breathe, has more room to breathe, and I think it's kind of nice that it falls apart.
You can